Maya Chen just cut her pipeline monitoring time from 14 hours a week to 8 minutes. Still checking dashboards manually? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which AI orchestration tool to deploy first and how it'll change the way your data moves forever. Here's what most data engineers don't realize yet. The gap between traditional orchestration and AI-powered orchestration isn't incremental anymore. It's exponential. Dr. Silas Venn predicted this shift 3 years ago when he told me something I didn't fully understand at the time. He said the age of writing orchestration logic by hand was already over, we just hadn't noticed yet. He compared it to developers still writing assembly code when high-level languages already existed. The tools had evolved, but our habits hadn't caught up. Think about your current setup. You're probably using Airflow or Prefect or something similar. You wrote DAGs. You configured retry logic. You set up monitoring. You built error handling. And now you spend hours every week babysitting pipelines that should just work. You've become a maintenance engineer instead of a builder, and that shift happened so gradually you might not have even noticed when it occurred. Here's the thing. While you've been maintaining those systems, a completely different approach emerged. AI that doesn't just execute your orchestration rules. It writes them, optimizes them, and adapts them in real time based on what's actually happening in your data. You're spending 4 hours debugging a failed pipeline. AI spots the issue, suggests 3 fixes, and implements the optimal one in 4 minutes. You're spending 2 hours every Monday reviewing pipeline performance. AI has already rebalanced your entire workflow based on weekend traffic patterns before you finished your coffee. It's analyzed throughput, identified bottlenecks, and redistributed workloads across your infrastructure without you writing a single line of configuration code. This isn't future tech. This is shipping right now, and the company's processing over 1 million events daily. They're not using traditional ETL anymore. They've moved to AI-powered pipelines that learn, adapt, and self-heal. The question isn't whether the shift is happening. The question is how far behind are you willing to fall while everyone else is already running these systems? Let me show you exactly what this looks like in practice. Maya Chen runs data infrastructure for a mid-size e-commerce platform. 300,000 transactions daily. User behavior tracking. Inventory updates, payment processing, standard modern data stack. She built something she was actually proud of. A carefully orchestrated pipeline that pulled data from 17 sources, transformed it through 6 stages, and landed it in their warehouse for analysis. But here's what her week actually looked like. Every morning, she'd check the orchestration dashboard. Scan for red. There was always red. A source API changed its response format. A transformation step timed out because of unexpected data volume. A downstream dependency failed. She'd spend 2 hours investigating. Fix it, redeploy, monitor. Each fix felt like progress, but really she was just treading water, staying in the same place week after week. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, different error, same process. By Thursday, she told me she felt less like a data engineer and more like a full-time firefighter. 14 hours a week, just keeping the system running, not improving it, not building new features, just maintaining. The backlog of improvements she wanted to implement kept growing while her time kept shrinking. Then she tried something different. She deployed an AI orchestration layer called DataStream AI. Not replacing her entire stack, just adding intelligence on top. Think of it like this. Your traditional orchestrator is a train schedule. It says train A leaves at 9, train B leaves at 10, and if train A is late, train B just waits or fails or triggers whatever retry logic you programmed 6 months ago. AI orchestration is different. It's more like an air traffic controller with perfect memory and predictive capability. It knows train A is running late because it sees the pattern from last Tuesday. It's already rerouted train B, adjusted train C's departure, and notified train D to expect a lighter load. And it learned all of this not from rules you wrote, but from watching your system run. Maya connected DataStream to her existing pipelines. Didn't rewrite anything, just added the layer. The first thing it did was analyze 3 months of her pipeline execution history. found patterns she'd never noticed, realized that every second Wednesday her payment processing pipeline slowed down because of a vendor's maintenance window. Something she'd been manually working around for a year. The AI automatically adjusted the schedule, moved that pipeline's execution window. Problem solved. Then it got more interesting. Her inventory transformation step kept failing when sudden traffic spikes happened. Black Friday previews, influencer mentions, flash sales. The pipeline couldn't handle the volume surge. Maya had built-in retry logic, but retries just meant delays. The data would eventually arrive, but sometimes hours late, making the analytics nearly worthless for real-time decision-making. The AI didn't retry. It predicted. It saw the traffic pattern forming 20 minutes before the spike hit. It pre-allocated more compute resources. It adjusted the batch size. It prioritized critical transformations and queued non-urgent ones. The spike hit, and the pipeline didn't even notice. Within 2 weeks, Maya's monitoring time dropped to 8 minutes a week. Not because she was checking less, because there was less to check. The system was healing itself, adapting itself, optimizing itself. She told me the weirdest part was the feeling. She'd spent so long being reactive, waiting for something to break so she could fix it, that she'd forgotten what proactive felt like. Now she was building again, adding features, exploring new data sources, doing the work she actually wanted to do. That's the shift. You're not automating tasks. You're reclaiming your actual job. Here's what you're going to do in the next 5 minutes. Go to DataStream AI's platform. They have a free tier that connects to your existing orchestration tool. Airflow, Prefect, Dagster, doesn't matter. Connect it, read only first. Just let it observe. Within 24 hours, it'll show you a pattern analysis. Where your pipelines slow down, where they fail most often, where you're over-provisioning resources, and where you're under-provisioning. You're not changing anything yet. You're just seeing what you've been missing. Then, and only then, enable one AI recommendation. Just one. Let it optimize one pipeline schedule, or adjust one resource allocation, or implement one predictive scaling rule. Watch what happens. That's it. That's the whole assignment. One connection, one observation period, one change. You'll know within 48 hours whether this is the future of how you work. You don't realize what's already happening, but it starts now.